Okay, so hello, my 8th grade darlings. First of all, I wanted to give you guys a big, huge shout out. I am super, super sorry. This sucks. Straight up. Not even two ways about it. I had some of you who are still working on ceiling tiles. I know there were 4 of you who had 2 ceiling tiles you were partnering up. I'm not ruling out that we will not be able to figure out how to get those done. I would even be willing to come in this summer maybe and let you guys, if we can schedule time for your parents to bring you up and work on those for a little bit, because I know you're so close to being done. As for the rest of you who had ceiling tiles slated and planned, I don't know if we're going to be able to get to it. I know I'm going to try my hardest to get the ones that are started done. But if you had already turned in a sketch to me, I just can't make any promises right now. I personally am desperately hoping that we come back and we have a couple weeks at the very end of the year to get some of this stuff done, and I can see your faces, and because I've known most of you since kindergarten, as I always like to point out. Yeah, I can't say that right now. I don't know what's going to happen. So here's what's happening for your art class. Oh, yeah, that's the other big bummer news. I was not able, I had to cancel our order for clay. We were going to do that big clay project I was super excited about. As you remember, we obviously, even if we come back, are not going to have time. I can't imagine. So, and if we do come back, who knows what those days are going to look like. It's just, everything's up in the air right now, and I couldn't risk ordering 200 pounds of clay and not being able to use it and having to sit on it for a year and it going bad. So it's currently on hold. If things change and I can pull it off, I'm going to pull it off. We're going to figure that out. So, but for right now, we're going to have to go old school and do some simple stuff this way. So what we're going to talk about, you guys know me. I love using words. I love using letters. When I was coming up with what to do with my 8th graders and all of my kids, I had to really think about what you guys have access to. You know, where you are. Some of you are being bounced between houses because that's who's taking care of you. And that means supplies are kind of a little trickier to find. So I'm just trying to be super accommodating to everybody. And I have so many kids that it's easier to keep my part of this simple. So what I'm looking to do, I am looking to get your creative juices flowing. I am looking to give you something to do other than playing on your phone, tablet, or watching TV, because even my brain is numb from binge watching too much television right now. And I am looking to just give you something fun to do, something a little outside the box. We're kind of stuck right now in so many ways that this is a nice change of pace. So with that being said, we're going to talk a little bit about words, art, how we can turn them into art. We have done projects with words before. We have turned them into art, but now we're going to kind of take it next level. So one of the things I want to talk to you about is graffiti art. So graffiti art gets a really bad rap in a lot of ways. However, recently, in the last probably 5 years, graffiti art and / murals in cityscapes, especially cities, have become really pretty popular. There's a huge difference between graffiti art, traditional graffiti art, and mural art. Graffiti art does not have the permission of the owner of the building, or the train car, or the trash can, or whatever the person is tagging. Mural art has that person's permission to put something on the side of the building and make it art. So can they be very similar style-wise? Sure. Can they use very bold colors? Can they use the same style lettering? Yep. But the difference is someone gave permission for the one. It would be like somebody coming into my art room and just randomly drawing on the wall and looking at me and going, well, you let them draw on the ceiling. And the difference is I gave you permission to draw on the ceiling tile. I did not give you permission to draw on my wall. Does that make sense? So, and please excuse me if we're interrupted by a cat, because it might happen. Just saying. So with that being said, we're going to talk about graffiti words. I call them graffiti words because it's what we can instantly come up with an image in our head for, or words that we would use in those type settings. Obviously, you're doing this on paper, so you have permission because it's your paper, so it's not graffiti. Do not go out and paint on the side of your mom's garage unless she tells you you can. Okay? So, I mean, you're talking to the person who drew a horse head on her ceiling I was in like 3rd grade, and I covered it with a poster for probably months before my mom realized what I did. And guess what was considered graffiti at that point? My horse head, because I sure didn't have permission to put it up there. And my mom was sure mad at me. So anyway, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to think of a word, a phrase. A lot of this depends on the size paper, excuse me, the size paper that you're using. I do not expect everybody to have traditional paper like we have in the art room. My sketch paper, my final paper options, those are all very regular sets of pieces of paper. I do not expect everybody to have unlined paper. You might be using the back of a scratch pad like this one, turning these over and using the back side of these. That if that's what you have, that's what you have. You could use cardboard. You could use paper bags if you have those. If you're an Aldi shopper and you, for some reason, have paper bags, go through the junk mail. All those credit card offers, there's normally never anything on the back of those. So if you need blank paper, I'm sure you can find it if you just take a second and look. But be careful with your paper. So with that being said, if you're sketching on paper, use the front and the back. Don't be wasteful. You know me, I hate wasting paper. It's a big pet peeve of mine. So I'm going to kind of let this be up to you guys. You can pick a word, preferably, 5-ish letters. A lot of it depends on the size paper you're using. If you have enough paper, but you have small paper and you want to put a letter on each piece of paper and divvy it out that way, that's fine. If you have a huge piece of paper and that's one piece you have and you want to do an entire quote, you can do that too. We're talking about line and how line is used to create visual interest. So basically you're taking a word or a phrase. I'm going to do a word for just today's drawing purposes because it's easy. And it just came to me, the word I'm going to use. It's 5 letters. It's sunny because it is super sunny and I have some wicked glare going on in my craft room studio and my phone keeps going off. I'm sorry. So do you guys remember when we did the Zentangle drawings with your names and you drew the name and it started at the top and it went to the bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom, and it went all the way across the paper. And then we used Zentangles to finish up the spaces. We're doing something kind of like that, but way more interesting. So I'm going to use the word sunny, and I am going to start at the top of my paper just because it makes me happy. And right now, Mr. Moss has got to be happy. But I'm going to make my S go all the way to the bottom too. So I have Mr. Moss, who has an entire art room in her house, literally is using a clipboard with paper that she cut out of a sketchbook because that's all I had around. And I had to find pencils to even sharpen. And my eraser is 20 years old from college. It was hard times. So I have an S. Can you see my funky junky S? And I'm going to kind of change this up and overlap and cattywampus the letters to give it a little bit more visual interest. Think in the style of graffiti art. Like they can be very aligned very vertically, but they are different heights. There's very interesting line going around each one of these. Side note, I'm going to try to find a really great video. I think I have one to post in Google Classroom. Almost all of you are in Google Classroom, so you should be able to find that link without it being an issue. Plus your 8th graders. You ain't babies. You can change it up and use capital and lowercase letters just to create visual interest. Now I'm going to straight up tell you, all of a sudden, Mr. Moss's paper has gotten very small. So I went ahead and did, I don't know if you can see this very well. So I have the S, I overlapped the U, I drew a big N, I did a little N with a little hump because I wanted something a little bit more interesting right here. And then I did an old school big Y. Okay. So I'm going to use a Sharpie just because it's easier to see because this room is so bright and I can't do anything about that, guys. It's just what it is. I'm going to use a Sharpie to kind of go around these to create that graffiti-ish outline. I'm trying to think if I want to do that. I'm going to be brave. I would tell you guys to do a pencil first because if you want to add anything to the ends of them, like little points or little drips, anything like that, laying that out with a pencil is going to be way better than going all the way in with the Sharpie right off the bat. But this is Miss DeMoss we're talking about here. So she does things a little differently. And I'm going to show you what I've done. I don't know if I should show you now. I'm going to just talk for a second and just draw. So story time. There's my TikTok reference. You're welcome. Story time. If you're drawing at home, I do not expect all of you to have places to draw. One of my favorite, I told the other 2 videos of kids that I've done today, one of my favorite places to draw as a kid was my mom had a big, huge old school cutting board. I mean, this thing, my grandpa actually made it. It was huge. And I would sit on the couch and I would put that on my lap so I could draw and watch TV at the same time because I was lazy. My mom still uses it to write all of her Christmas cards. So don't even pretend that she's not the same way I am. So now what I'm going to show you is this word, and this is going to look a little trippy for right now because there's letters inside of letters, and I'm going to work on it. So what I've done, can you see it? So here's my binder clip. I need to find a binder clip. So here's my S, my U, and these 2 overlapped right in here. So I want to figure this out, but I'm not committed to an idea enough yet to put it in Sharpie. N, and a Y. You with me? I used up the entire piece of paper pretty much from edge to edge, top to bottom. I created visual interest with different shapes and lines. I threw some of these little skinny guys in here, which is probably what I'm going to try to weasel in this space right here. I'm not sure. I might leave that alone and do something different with it. This is the joy of being an artist. You get to do you. And then I made my Y real funky to take up some of the N or the Y. So here's the big goal for this week. Simple. Get your juices flowing. Figure out a word, get a blueprint, get something on paper. Don't do anything else to it right now. We are going to be adding other elements. We have talked about these things, but I've never applied them to actual art concepts and art principles of design. Line being one of them. Line, we just draw lines all the time. We don't even take it into effect how lines can change something and visually make such a huge difference. So feel free, if you really feel it, to make 2 versions. So I could literally rewrite out the word sunny and apply it totally differently. Maybe I'll turn my paper the other way. Maybe I'll make all the letters on the bottom half of the paper so I have plenty of room at the top to do something else. We are going to be adding other elements to this. So we are going to be talking about things like value, which we've talked about, but not in the official art sense. We are going to be talking about texture. We're going to be talking about patterns. We have talked about patterns, but we're going to go next level with patterns. So all of these things that we're going to talk about, we are going to be applying to this word. So your goals are, so for example, had I done this way, like I had just suggested, and I had written the words only on the bottom half and I left the top half as background, I would need to still make sure my words were wide enough to do something to the inside of them. What is a surprise? Leave background space. We're going to do something in that too. So this is going to become a practice sheet for a lot of different things. So your goal between now and next video, which will be next week, is to get a word on a paper, interestingly. Now, like I said, if you want to do 1 letter per paper, you have the paper for that, down with it. Do it. If you want to do 1 word on 1 paper, down with that. Also, good news is you do not have to put your name on these because you're responsible for them. Bad news, number 2, you have to keep track of it until the next video. So Ms. DeMoss, is super picky about how things are taken care of. So please put this somewhere safe where it's not going to get wrinkled or destroyed or beat up. Okay. If you're drawing on a clipboard or a cutting board and you can put that whole entire thing somewhere safe until the next time, that would be spectacular. So the plan is this. I have all of what you're doing for the next 6 weeks planned out. Like I said, if we come back to school, I will jump in there and we'll figure it out. But for me, it was easier to go ahead and make like a whole plan than it was to just do 1 week at a time and not really know where we were going to end up. This is called beginning with the end in mind, friends. So with that being said, if you really feel ambitious and you want to read every weekly agenda, they're on little tabs at the bottom of the Google Sheets document, which is in my Google Drive folder that you can get to from the website for distance learning. Okay, there's an art folder. You will find it. I have faith in you. I am also saving these videos and I'm going to put them on my teaching YouTube channel, which is Miss DeMoss Art Teacher. So if you want to jump over there and you want to see them, you can see them there. The plan is all these videos will be up by Monday. They will probably be up before then because today is Wednesday. Isn't it Wednesday? Yes. And I am doing videos for the 13th today. So I'm hoping to be ahead of schedule. And then what I'm planning on doing is by Thursday, there will be something on Google Classroom for us to check in. So I can either see what you're working on, answer questions, comments, concerns. In fact, as I've been making these videos, I might end up making just a general Google something for you guys to contact me. I also have my email, ldemoss@edge4kids.org. Class Dojo. If you're on Class Dojo, for some of the middle schoolers aren't, it's not as cool, I hear. Email Class Dojo. Oh, and I will be posting in my welcome letter, which is also in my art folder through distance learning, through the Acros website, is a Google Voice phone number that you can text, or please don't call me. I hate talking on the phone. I love you guys, but talking on the phone drives me crazy. But you could even text me or upload pictures to there. Please remember, I don't have your number, so I won't know who it is. So clarify who you are. But that's kind of a backup only because I have so many kids that if everybody starts texting that number, I'm going to lose my mind. And I'm already there because this whole teaching online art is very challenging. So anyway, that's that. I miss you. You can comment on Google Classroom, email. I think that's it. Is that it? Save your work for next week. I need to see something or I need to be in contact with you to give you a grade. So don't act like this doesn't count because this does. I'm just trying to make it super simple for you. And they're letting me do it. So don't be a jerk about it. Do your work. Okay. I think that's it, friends. I'm going to peace out now. I miss you. Till next week. Adios.